Yeah. Before the flood, before the rain, before the whole earth drowned in pain, one man stood when the world fell down. One man walked when the rest would drown. His name was Noah, a righteous seed, a man who gave God everything he'd need. In a generation soaked in sin, every thought of man was evil within. The earth was corrupt, violence filled the land. God looked down and said, "I'll start again." But then he saw one man walking right, one lamp still burning in the darkest night. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord, not by perfection but by trusting his word. He feared God when fear was out of style. He walked with God every single mile. When everyone around him chose the broad road, Noah picked up righteousness like it was a heavy load. He wasn't perfect, but his heart was turned toward the God of heaven, and that's something earned through daily choices, through saying no to the wickedness, putting on a daily show. Blameless, he was called in his generation, not sinless but set apart for a holy nation. He loved what God loved and he hated what God hated, in a world completely dark and thoroughly degraded. Noah, righteous man, holding on to God's unchanging hand. When the world said live however you please, Noah dropped to his knees. God said build it, Noah swung the first blow. Faith looks foolish till the waters flow. One man, one family, one holy cause, standing righteous while the wicked fall. Then God spoke in a voice like thunder, said, "I'm about to tear this wicked world asunder. I want you to build an ark of gold for wood. Do exactly what I say and do it good. Give me the length, the width, the height, coat it in pitch, make it watertight. 3 stories high with a door on the side. Gather your family, prepare for the ride." Now imagine what that looked like to the people around. A man building a boat on dry, solid ground, no ocean nearby, no storm in the sky, just a crazy old man with timber piled high. They came by to laugh, they came by to mock, pointed their fingers and stood there in shock. "What are you building, old man? What's the plan? You think some flood is coming to this land?" Noah kept swinging, kept cutting, kept nailing, while the crowd kept jeering and the crowd kept wailing with laughter and ridicule year after year. But Noah kept building because Noah kept fear. The fear of the Lord, not terrible reverence, the kind that makes obedience your permanent preference. When God says move, you don't ask for a sign, you just pick up your hammer and stay in the line. 100 years of building through the heat and the rain, 100 years of people thinking this man is insane. But every plank was an act of worship, every nail was faith that never lost its purpose. Noah, righteous man, holding on to God's unchanging hand. When the world said live however you please, Noah dropped to his knees. God said build it, Noah swung the first blow. Faith looks foolish till the waters flow. One man, one family, one holy call, standing righteous while the wicked fall. Then something shifted in the atmosphere. The animals started coming from far and near. 2 by 2 they marched in a holy parade, lion and the lamb, every creature God made. The people watched with their mouths hanging open. Something supernatural had just been spoken into the hearts of every beast and bird. They moved by instinct or the living word. Noah watched and wondered as God kept his word. The most magnificent thing these eyes ever heard. Elephants and eagles, cattle and the dove, all gathered together by the hand of love. Then the rains began just to drop at first. The people looked up, didn't think the worst. Maybe just a shower, maybe just a cloud, but the thunder started rolling deep and loud. And that's when the panic began to set in, when they realized what was happening. The ones who laughed loudest came running first, pounding on the door with an unholy thirst. "Let us in, Noah, let us in. We didn't know, we didn't see the end. Let us in, Noah, open up the gate, but God had shut the door and it was too late." Can you imagine the sound of 1,000 fists beating on the wood through the rain and the mist? Mothers holding children up toward the sky, fathers screaming, "Why, God?" Screaming, "Why?" The men who mocked him now begged for his mercy. The women who laughed now desperate and thirsty for just one more chance to make it right. But judgment had come on that terrible night. The water rose above the ankles and the knees, then above the rooftops, above the tallest trees. And everything that breathed outside that ark was swallowed by the water in the cold and the dark. But inside the ark the family held on tight. Inside the ark there was peace in the night. Inside the ark the animals were still. Inside the ark was the presence and the will of a God who judges, but a God who saves, a God who destroys, but a God who pays. of redemption through the wire.